Good morning, everyone. Doesn't that music just, I need to get a construction mix instead because it is something to kind of get you woken up in the morning, but at the same time, it's preference, right? So I'm excited to have all of you here. I hope that this is a good time frame. We've been trying different times in order to be able to work with everyone and everyone's schedules. And so this is a time frame when hopefully it's right before your day really gets started. And so we can get you thinking about construction management all day. So with that being said, I just want to invite all of you to here at the 5-day Construction Management Accelerator Challenge, and glad that you're taking this step in investing in yourself and learning more about construction management and how to make any kind of transition that you're trying to make in your life. So with that, I just want to open it up for a second and see if anybody wants to talk a little bit about what they hope to get out of these 5 days that you're investing in yourself. And we can design this however we want. I want to be able to be here as a mentor to you and help you as much as I can in the areas that you feel that you need help. Our focus is going to be on transition. So how to transition from either another industry or discipline into construction management by using our life skills that are going to align with construction, or transitioning from college into the real world and seeing if we can get you moving in the right direction, or transitioning from hands-on site work into office management, because there's almost a canyon sometimes between how we're working out on the job site with our hands and our minds and what's going on out there to how we function and work in the office. So would anybody like to go ahead and unmute and let me know a little bit about you and what you hope to get out of this? Not everyone at once.
I guess I can start. I'm Jenny, and we're located in Oklahoma. And my husband and I own and operate a earthwork company called Williams Dirt Service. We've been doing that now for about 18 years. I handle the office side of things, and he handles the field side of things. And the reason I'm here is because I would kind of like to get more information on transitioning from mainly just doing the earthwork scope. I would like to offer here pretty soon construction management services for our business. And so I kind of wanted to get a glimpse into what that looks like. And you seem like the right place to go.
Well, thank you, Jenny. Love having you here. This is going to sound funny, not funny, but amazing. This is how God works. My dad was total earthwork. So I've done earthwork my whole life. Yeah, he was a 140G blade operator, and I used to run guineas for him every summer. And so that's the foundation of a lot of the work that I've done. So this will be great.
Wow, that's awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you. And anyone else? I'm just going to pick on Robert because I already know him. So
hello. Hey,
hi.
good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
I'm Robert from Sacramento, California. And I kind of fall into the mix of transitioning out of college and transitioning from another field. Over the summer, I've done a lot of thinking, and I think that I feel more ready to go into more of a construction management path. And I'm kind of looking at what the best way is. I have some kind of specific criteria I'm looking for. I want to stay in Sacramento. I hope to be able to build on the weekends with my dad. And so kind of looking for a full-time position that allows me to do both of those things for at least the next 2-3 years. That's why I'm here.
Fantastic. And I I love Robert because he's so modest, but he's absolutely amazing. And he's a student, a past student of mine. So I totally know exactly where you're at, Robert. And first off, I'm so excited that you're choosing this path, because I think that in this order of precedence of how you're learning and how you're putting your knowledge book together, this will be perfect, a perfect foundation for you. So it'll open up a really broad base for you to be able to work from. And it's not going to be a problem. We're going to find you an absolutely amazing job. So, and then I hope you do get to go back into some of your other goals. But once you get into it, it's really addicting. So I don't know if you're going to go anywhere. All right. So is it sulfur? I know I'm gonna kill it. I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to show your face and tell me what it is if you want it corrected.
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm very good. So how do you pronounce your name?
Well, it's Sulfikar. You can pronounce it anyways, no problem. It's okay.
Fantastic. So what kind of experience are you bringing to the table, and what do you want to learn here?
Yeah, my full name is Sulfikar Ali, and right now I am settled. I am a qualified civil engineer. Right now I am settled in UAE, United Arab Emirates. But I have secured an open work permit for Canada, and I am planning to move to Canada by the end of August 2023. So I just find this class more useful for the future career.
Well, fantastic. And I think that I mean, Jenny, she's into earthwork, you're into civil, I do it. So this is going to be a good class, but is it horizontal or vertical structure civil that you're in?
No, right now I am in the sewerage, construction of sewer lines, laying of the sewer lines. Now I am focusing on the network section and regarding the surveying and laying of the sewer lines, the water treatment plants and stuff like that.
Perfect. Really great place to be in, right? I mean, water's probably the most important resource in the entire world. So being able to be in water treatment is a really good place to be. So, well, fantastic. Excited for you. Thank you. And nice to meet you. Is Nozabella gonna come online? And okay. Ali Alahaf, are you there?
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, doing.
Now,
Nice to
did
see
I
you
say your
again.
name right?
Yes, Ali, just Ali.
Ali.
Yeah.
Perfect. So how are you here with us today, and what would you like to gain from this?
Actually, I'm sorry I can open my web because I'm in work. My brother work in Tennessee in HVAC, and he has a company, and he asked me to move to Georgia, Atlanta, to open the company together. I'm in construction, and he will help me in HVAC, of course. So I try to get more information to start that job next year. So I'm here to hear from you, because every time get some experience from you. Thank you.
Fantastic. That is a very exciting venture. And I'm glad that you siblings can get along so well that you can actually work together that way. So that's amazing. So fantastic. Well, thank you and welcome all of you here today. I just want to remind everybody that in the chat, I'm going to just jump over here for a second and look, is that hopefully we're going to be able to get you your workbook link. And, okay, Nosbella just told me that they're struggling with audio, so no problem. I'll keep an eye on the chat so that if you have anything that you would like to input in there, that would be absolutely amazing. And then I can connect you with the rest of the group. I then also want to remind everybody about the Facebook group. We don't have a lot of community involvement yet because we've just kind of started this, the Facebook group up, but we're going to have a Facebook community. And I am more present on LinkedIn. It's more of just what I'm comfortable personally. So, you know, you're interacting with me when it's on LinkedIn. And so, I'm going to start transitioning some of that information over into Facebook. So if that's a more comfortable platform for you, then I'm going to be able to do that. And I have really short, you know, training videos and just things that kind of remind you about what goes on a daily basis when we're in construction management. And then we also are going to have some stuff on Instagram. I personally don't really know how to use it. So I have one of those really creative young people working on it for me. They're using my information. They know how to format it. So it's, you know, short, quick, and still going to be very useful. But if you're really looking to be able to knock on my door, it's going to be LinkedIn. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So first off, I just want to congratulate all of you for even looking at construction management. Now, like Ali was talking about, he's going to be doing construction management, but he's also going to be building a business. And so it's the same thing, right? When we're building, we're in construction management mode. When we're building our life, we're in construction management mode. So a lot of what we do is understand that we're further than we think we are. And that's one of the scariest things about looking at potentially going into a new discipline or a new area is fear sets in, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about mindset. I'm not going to overindulge you in it. My focus here is exactly what I advertised, and that is that we're going to talk about construction management. But if you don't have the right mindset in knowing and understanding where you're at now, what you need to do, and where you want to go, then that's where the block happens. So I can teach you all day long everything that there is to know about construction management, but if you're not prepared to receive it, then it's not going to go anywhere. And so my goal is to teach you about construction management, but do it in a way that's going to accelerate where you want to be. Because once we get there, then we can just open ourselves up to learning. And then we don't have to focus on the learning. We understand that learning is part of our everyday life. And so if it's part of our everyday life and just part of what we do every day, then we don't have to go through the exercise of saying to ourselves, oh, I got to spend an hour this morning learning about how to do this. No, we're actually doing it. We're putting hands-on action to what it is that we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And that is going to assist in the implementation of, let me just make sure something, my screen changed. So let me just make sure that, so that's going to be the direction that we're going. We want to make sure that and I'm at I just want to say something real quick. I'm at my sister's house. I just went to it was a veterans event. It was called a red carpet event. I went and spoke about construction management to people in the military because it's a perfect transition for people from the military because of the processes and systems that we do in construction management. It's very structured and regulated, which is something that military people would do very well at. And my brother-in-law likes heads. Okay, so I am an outdoorsy person and I love it, but I know it doesn't sit well with everyone. So I'm just telling you that that's why my background is what it is. You're going to see a different background tomorrow. So, but with that, and that's our family. So anyways, with that, going into construction management, one of the things that we need to recognize when we're looking at being a forever student. So when we're looking at being a forever student and learning every day what we're trying to implement, and this is one of the things why I also really like that we're doing this so early in the morning, because literally all day long, you're going to start doing functions in the job that you're at. And you're going to be like, oh my God, she's totally talked about that today. I can't believe that I'm actually in this. Like now I see what we're talking about. So when we're learning on a daily basis, we're implementing life skills into construction management. Okay, so if you can manage your life, then you can manage a project. The only difference is that projects are sometimes really big and overwhelming, as if life is not. Okay, so life is going to identify some of the main transitional skill sets that we will be using in construction. So during one of the days of the 5-day, we go specifically into this all day, but we have 8 transitional skill sets that are best recognized of working both in our life mastery as well as in construction management. So I'll just give you one example, but on a daily basis, you may be making phone calls to schedule something for the dentist appointment. And then you are going to also have to go to the grocery store to be able to get your groceries. And you're going to run by and drop off checks because your husband forgot them at the office. And you're going to mail something out at the post office. When you sit in your day, when you're getting ready to leave, there's either a conscious or unconscious effort to put everything in an order of precedence that is going to make your day most efficient, right? So you are going to make sure that you're kind of hitting 10 birds with one stone, all right? So you're going to have it all mapped out. This is a life skill. You're already further into construction management than you really recognize. And we're going to use these types of life skills and transition them over and just put some construction terminology to it. So it's going to then be able to align us. So when we start recognizing that we're not as far behind as we think we are, then we can lose some of the fear that is moving us into that uncomfortability in order for us to be able to move forward into a construction management position. So uncomfortability is, it's an amazing place. Okay, so it is a place of growth. We're not going to grow if we're always doing something that we're comfortable at. If we always feel comfortable because we know what we're doing, then we're not doing anything new. And if we're not doing anything new, we can't expect anything new to happen in our life, right? So our growth and our expansion needs to be in those areas that we've never been before. So that fear, which is part of mindset, we're going to talk about this more because it is really important. We have our parasympathetic skills that are fear, fight, flight, and friend. Okay, so we're going to talk about those. But when you move into fear, it's actually the same energy and frequency as excitement. Okay, so the only difference is that one takes you in one direction and the other one takes you in another direction. So when you're fearful, you may freeze, but when you're excited, you may move forward with something or you may take action. And so what we need to recognize is that the only reason why fear is sitting in is because it's in an unknown area. And then we just need to reframe it. It's not going to kill us, right? The idea of moving into construction management is not going to kill us. And that's the purpose of fear, is to protect us so that we can survive. So if we can switch it into an excitement and know that it is good to be in a place of uncomfortability, then it's going to allow our mind to open up and release, which will allow us to be able to be more receptive to the information that's coming in, which doesn't only allow information to soak in, it allows information to be retained. And the reason why I want to go into this kind of depth just a little bit up front with you is because as we get older, I mean, all of us except for Robert, because Robert's mind is still like, oh, I've been in school and I know how to do textbooks and I know how to learn and I know how to do all of this. Some of us that have been out of school for a while, our mind's not so pliable and it kind of learns in a different manner than it did when 30 of us were in a box, you know? So we're still learning, we just don't recognize it the same way. And our mind is still in this process of, okay, I didn't like school. I don't want to go to school. I'm just focused on my career. I just want to move forward. But once we understand that we're learning every day, all the time, then it allows us to be able to exercise our brain and practice that pliability that allows us to remain open for future information. So with that said, does anybody have any questions so far? You definitely can put them in the chat. I have an amazing help today. Kate is there and she is going to be also watching the chat for me. So if any questions come up, she can make sure to let me know that we're talking. And oh, there's this really cool hand that happens at the bottom of your Zoom link. If you move your arrow, you can see the reactions at the very bottom, and it has a raise your hand, so you can tell me also that way if you have a question. So what is construction management? So it's a lot of things. So I'll just tell you that right off the bat. And that's why it's really good to try to understand and be focused on what it is that you're looking for. So when we're talking about construction management, you can be an owner and be a construction manager. So we usually call that an owner representative. So that's an agency CM, and that is where you know, Jenny, in your company, you're probably working with that person who's representing the owner. And so they are sometimes, they feel inflexible because they're trying to protect their owner. And so they are in that kind of middleman position because the owner typically doesn't know that much about construction. They just know what they want the finished product to be. And then we have construction managers that work within a construction company. And those construction managers are typically on the job site and they're reporting to what we call a project manager. And so those construction managers are managing the construction, the flow and the movement of all the work that's happening out on the job site. They might even have some supervisor or superintendent capabilities. So they might have a little bit more experience on the hands-on side. This is becoming a really popular position here in the United States anyways, of being able to have carpentry experience combined with construction management experience, because carpenters can lay things out. They can really read drawings and know what needs to happen on a job site. And because of the lack of capable workforce that we have coming into construction and construction management, they've taken on more of a management role in some of those superintendent positions. And then just depending on the size of the job and the type of job, is it a federal job? Is it a state job? Is it a commercial project? Is it industrial? Is it residential? Is it public works? Any of those things are going to change the roles and responsibilities of a construction manager. And then I wasn't really prepared to talk about this, but Ollie's getting ready to start a new business. So a construction manager in starting your own business and doing something like that would also still be wearing two hats, because you're going to be more of what we call a program manager or project manager. And that means that you're going to be dealing with a lot of the pre-construction, pre-design, a lot of the pre-planning that goes into getting ready to go into construction management, because there's so much to do before you even get into breaking ground. And when some of the programs that we teach, we do go deeper into what happens in that pre-design, because in my personal opinion, you have to understand what you're standing on top of, what kind of foundation has been built for you before you go into the management of specific construction. And so it's really important to be able to understand that part of it. But I think the other reason why I want to bring that up is because when you're looking at what kind of construction manager do I want to be, you can actually say, I want to be one that works in pre-design. I want to be the pre-planner. I want to be the one innovating, thinking about problem solving, what order we're going to be doing the projects, what means and methods are we going to do, what kind of delivery method are we going to be going into. And we'll go into some of those the verbiage and the meaning of some of those words that I've said. But for sure, sometimes I am a teacher, but sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. So if there's something or a term that I've used that you're not familiar with, then for sure write it in the box so that we can talk about it, because means and methods and delivery are huge in construction. And that also is going to be responsible for the kind of roles and responsibilities that you will have to do as a construction manager on that particular job. So does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. So one of the things that is going to be your homework, because I know you guys are going to be working with the workbook, but one of the things that I want you to do is almost kind of like write your perfect job description. So like, Jen, I would think that you're going to be writing about not only what the role of a construction manager is, which is something you'll want to start with, because you're going to just write a descriptive job description of this construction management position that is going to be perfect for you. But then if you're wanting to add it as a subsidiary company to what it is that you're currently doing, or if you're, I'm not quite sure how you're planning on structuring that yet, and we can talk about that later offline, but you're going to also want to have an overview master plan picture of what that's going to look like. And so as you're writing your job description, you might just kind of keep that in mind as well. And then Robert, same with you, is knowing and understanding that, you know, real estate is really important to you and being able to maneuver that, but how important a construction management skill set is in all of that, not just the construction part, right? The pre-design part and the thinking and planning and strategizing of which homes to sell first, which ones to complete first, which areas you want to be investing and selling, and which areas you want to keep your home because of the, you know, lucrative rent in that particular area. Those are all pre-planning strategies, but going from construction management to project management to program management is exactly kind of the stairway that you're going to be looking into. And then Sulfacur, you're just in the hot seat because you don't know what you're going to be doing. You're moving to Canada. So it's like, not only are you choosing, moving into a career that you're still trying to maneuver and work at, but you have to understand the culture there. You have to understand, how they do their work and, what that might look like for them. But the most important thing in your research is identifying what you're currently doing now that is going to be able to transition over into that so that you can know where your strong points are, because it's a really hard thing for us to identify things that we may be weak at or things that we need to learn. And those are the ones that you're going to really want to focus on. So you have to be super authentic with yourself, super truthful and honest about these are the areas that I need more support. And then that gives you a better picture of what you get to focus on moving forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Ali, for you, I would say that, let me think for a second. Moving into a business like you're moving into it's definitely management, right? But it's a management of a bunch of different components, and marketing and knowing how to find your perfect client is one of the most important things. And so obviously you're already doing that by moving to Georgia, where there's a big HVAC need, right? So that is a huge, that's putting you into your perfect market by being able to do that. But then knowing and understanding your customer. So typically, right, it's going to be somebody who needs you at the last minute, who really hasn't thought about preventative maintenance, who wants you to fix their AC today because it's hot right now. And so they don't think a whole lot during winter months about preventative maintenance or things that they could do in order to be able to improve that panic feeling when summer comes. And so in looking at a perfect job description, it might include somebody who has a lot of diversity and a lot of different skill sets in order to be able to move in different directions that are going to keep your company diverse and be able to allow it to produce well during summer months and during winter months. So, so we'll think about that a little bit more. And, you know, the other thing too, that I want all of you to think about and understand is that even though I may talk to each of you individually, everything in construction ends up in the same place at some point in time. So everything that I'm saying to someone else is going to apply to you at some point. Now, we talk about drinking from a fire hose, and in construction, you really have to, and I'm excited to give this analogy because Sulfiker is going to love this analogy because it has everything to do about water treatment. But when you're talking about drinking from a water hose, you can't possibly drink everything, right? So you can only drink what you can drink. And then the rest of the water just rushes by you and it lands on the ground. When it lands on the ground, we know, because we're in construction, that the first 18 to 24 inches is going to filtrate anything dirty or nasty in that water as it moves into the earth. And the earth is going to be our most incredible natural filtering resource. Then that water is going to go back into the aqueduct. It's going to be pulled by the public water system. It's going to go back into that fire system, and it's going to come back out the fire hydrant. So my point to that is that if you don't catch it this time, don't worry about it. It will come when your foundation and your base is ready to accept it. And the actual action of being frustrated at yourself or being upset that you haven't learned something or captured it the way that you wanted it will actually block you from being able to accept it. Okay. So the ability to be able to release what you can't hold and focus on what you can is going to continue. It's like I don't know if this is a good analogy, but those little swirly fly things that catch the flies when you have too many flies and the flies all stick on it. Well, they're not all going to stick at one time. And so it just keeps building and building and building. And that's exactly what's happening with you and your knowledge base, is it just keeps building on top of building. So it won't accept the roof before the walls are put in. Okay. Ali.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, you're talking about marketing. So when we decided to move, we decided to make the family business. I told you my brother have HVAC. Yeah. My daughter's one of she's interior design. The other one, she's real estate, and my son-in-law he start to marketing our company right there until we move. So they need like a manager. They ask me for that. The main reason to go there, I need to live with my grandson. So we decided to make a business there, to move all the families together. But the very important, as you said, marketing for the business, that's very important everywhere.
Yeah,
we have to know our customers. We have to know the area. The customer should know us, be honest, be perfect in work. That's very important for everyone.
absolutely. Absolutely. Trust and the confidence in someone is essential. And how amazing that you have such a talented family. Robert has his dad, so that's fantastic. And Jen has her husband. And Sulfiker, you're going to have to find somebody that in Canada that's going to support you. So, but Ali, that is amazing. And that is a really great team as well. And so it is very important that they all have some organization, and really what we call that is a master plan, right? So when we can put a master plan together and know what the big picture is, we don't have to know how we're going to get there. We just need to know exactly what we want it to look like. And when we're identifying exactly what it is that we want it to look like, We're going to put detail, color, sound, smell into that vision in order to be able to make it happen. And once we do that and our mind can kind of see and feel exactly where it is that we want to go, then the answers to how we're going to get there will appear. And so having an amazing team like that in place is really good. But yeah, they can kind of be flying in the wind if they don't have some type of direction. And so that's going to be an amazing place for you to be. Also, you know, being their father figure, they're already used to taking direction from you. And so long as they've reached that maturity point where it's no longer a headbutting contest and more of a flowing stream, then you're going to have an absolutely amazing experience, especially even being able to do things like that as a family, incredibly rewarding. I will just say one thing before we get back started. I also had a business with my family, but there is a difference between family and family business. So I will just say that no matter how beautiful everything is going, make sure that you have very simple but very clear black and white contracts of the roles and responsibilities of what each person is responsible for. That way you don't have to argue it or interpret it or anything. If something comes up and there becomes an issue, they simply have to go back to the black and white paper that they signed that was provided at the beginning. So it's very clear. And I say this from experience because I love my dad very much, but it was one of the hardest things because he did not see construction like I saw construction. I saw construction from the viewpoint of a manager, and therefore you have to have signed time and material sheets when you do extra work. When my dad saw construction, he saw it as, I gave my word, I shook his hand, I told him I would do this. I know it's not in the drawings, but it's what needs to get done in order for the job to continue. And then when the owner would come back and not pay my dad for the work, my dad would be really upset. And I would be like, you need to listen to me. So I found that when you had contracts that explained what each person was supposed to do, it took out the pain of me having to be upset at my dad or tell my dad he was wrong or tell my dad that he didn't do it right. Those are really hard conversations to have. So I definitely would encourage that. So moving back into construction management. So one of the things that we're getting that we want to do is we want to be able to build this vision, right? And sometimes this vision becomes a legacy. This becomes a direction that we want to be going when we are looking at our future. And so when we're building out that master plan, you're going to be starting it by identifying your job description and what that job description looks like. Now, I will just give you some big, broad things that you might want to consider. So as a construction manager, we're managing our life. We're using life mastery skills to transition over into construction. We are managing people. We are managing processes and systems. But the most important thing to recognize about a construction manager is that we are facilitating information. So I love to be able to, I love it when people have experience and industry knowledge in the construction industry, but it's very important to recognize that that is not necessary to be a construction manager. To be a construction manager, we need to know how to research. We need to know to be able to how to find the answer. We need to be able to communicate that answer to the parties appropriately and the way that that party needs to hear it. So an architect is going to have information facilitated to them differently than I would facilitate information to a general contractor. That is different than I would facilitate information to a subcontractor. So all of this needs to be recognized. We do have a inner core team that I focus on because there's so many people in the construction industry that we have to be able to communicate with, right? So I really just kind of focus on 5, And that's going to be the owner, who's also your client. It's going to be the contractor, the inspector, the architect, and then the role of the construction manager. And so that's going to be our inner core team. So when I'm talking about how you're facilitating or communicating, that's who I'm talking about when I'm talking about the inner core. And so as a construction manager, facilitating that information, researching it, being able to put it into language that is going to fit each of those people in the core team. And then I'm not going to call it manipulation, but we really are facilitating information in a way that we want to be able to project the outcome, right? And then the common outcome is always the finished deliverable. So if anybody on the team needs to know what the end goal looks like, feels like, smells like, hears like, it's the construction manager, right? Because you're the one driving everybody to the master plan goal. And that is very important because there are so many times that personalities can get involved. There's so many times we can butt heads. We're all type A personalities. We all want it done our way. We're all like hammered down, you know, pound sand. It's got to be the way I said it's going to be. The problem is that when you get that many different types of personalities, everybody gets defensive about things instead of working together. Having a common goal where you can all be looking at the same direction or looking at the same point on the line is really important. It doesn't mean that you all have to do it the same way. And as a construction manager, you will begin to recognize the more open that you can be to the different perspectives and the different ways that other people want to get to that point, and let them have the freedom in that movement. That's going to, what we call means and methods, that's going to be the way that they are going to produce that dot on the line. We need to be able to let them do that. As a construction manager, if you step in the way and try to start directing or providing instruction of how that's done, you then put yourself and your client and owner at risk. And so when you put them at risk and something goes wrong, it's great if it goes right, but if it goes wrong, then they're going to be financially responsible for recovering from that situation. That's why we facilitate information. If there's something I don't know, then there is another team member who I'm supposed to ask it from and get it from. Usually it's the architect, but if it's the contractor who also is supposed to be and has already said, because they've signed the contract that said that they knew how to do this work, that they may also be a contributor to the final answer. And so making sure that the contractor and the architect are on the same page, and that's going to help us keep it not cost as much either. So any questions? All right. So I know today was a little bit shorter because our music was playing into. We'll definitely be starting earlier tomorrow, more on the 6 o'clock time frame. Tomorrow's my birthday, so you can all bring balloons and, you know, some horns. When you get this old, I don't know necessarily that it's something to celebrate, but I'm glad to be alive. So alive one more day. So with that said, we will be focusing on day 2. And so I want to be able to hear about your job description and what you were able to lay out in that job description. And then possibly if you have just a little bit extra time of taking that master plan vision or that master plan goal and kind of outlining it and building it. I like to use outlines because we can always add detail later. So even if we outline and leave spaces underneath it and then can add details as we learn more, we can do it that way. But being able to start building that master plan, and I just want to caution you, because as you're building the master plan, it will be very tempting to want to know how you're going to achieve what it is that you're putting on there as an end goal. And I'm just telling you that if you knew how to do it, you wouldn't need to put it as an end goal because you would have already done it. Okay. So don't beat yourself up by not knowing the steps that will actually block you from being able to receive new information of how it's going to be able to be done. Right now, I just want to know what it is that you want to have done. Okay, so go ahead and build that out. And Robert, just for you, and I'll just say this because I know you're a thinker, is that you need to be able to release and not be so focused on, is this what I want to do? Because okay, so tomorrow I'm going to be 53 and I still don't know what I want to do. Okay, so there's so many of us that in our life, we know what we love, we know what excites us, we know what drives passion, and we know passion drives energy that makes it really easy for us to be able to do certain things. And those hard things are the things that we find out that we want to stay away from and that we don't want to do. And so you have found real estate, construction management, project management, investing. It's all very, it's kind of all in the same ball. And so it can make it harder to choose what direction to go in because you kind of don't want to miss any of it, but understand that you're doing it right this way because you're building the foundation and then it can go any way that you want it to go. So don't put pressure on yourself in feeling like I have to know what it is that I want to do. I'm just going to tell you all right now, you're going to want to do construction management because it's absolutely amazing, but don't put that pressure on yourself because when you put that up, it causes resistance and a block and you're not able to really accept the answers that you already have inside of you. I'm just here to be able to pull those out. Okay, so with that, I just, again, want to commend all of you for jumping on here. You're investing in yourself. You're going to be learning a lot. I'm super excited. But I just also want to say that, we accelerate our success by leaning on the experience of others. And I didn't take a whole lot of time to tell you about me. Robert knows me, but I've got a Class A general engineering contractor's license. I've been doing construction for over 25 years. I've been teaching it for over 18 years. I still do construction management as I'm teaching so I can share experiences with my students about what I'm working on. Right now, I'm working on a $50 million RV resort with a golf course attached for a Indian tribe in Northern California. And so you're learning from somebody who has been in the industry for a while and someone who's very passionate about it and loves it. So from that point of view, I hope to be able to mentor you and take you through this. And tomorrow, now you know that I answer questions. So bring all of your questions and we'll get set. So does anybody have anything before we close?
Thank you so much and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, Pacific Standard Time. All righty. Bye-bye.